Many of you are familiar with the concept of personality traits. Often, you take some type of a personality assessment test, and then based on a series of responses, the tool will put you into a category and give you a label on your primary personality or style approach. Well, the Gita also goes into depths to describe individual personality types. These are not your regular personality types, but you can call them as your spiritual personality type. If you're a believer in divinity, then the personality type is about the type of interaction you have with the divine. And if you're an agnostic, a non-believer, then the personality type is about your perspectives on divinity. I will explain these further as we go through the videos. Between the believer and the agnostic, Gita gives us a list of 8 personality types. In this video, I will cover the personality types of the believer in divinity, and in a subsequent video, I will cover the personality types of the agnostic. Let's get started. For a person who believes in some divine power, or you could call it the divine, the supreme, or God, the Gita associates you with one of 4 personality types: the distressed, the acquirer, the inquirer, and the knower. So who falls in this distressed category? A distressed person remembers the divine only during a loss. It could be the loss of a job, a financial trouble, a bad medical report, or any other event which causes hardship in the person's life. During the crisis, the individual recollects the powers of the divine and focuses momentarily to seek help. Remembrance is transactional, always linked to a benefit. Once the individual is out of the hardship situation, it's quite possible for the humdrum of daily life to take over and the individual forgets the divine. The bond of remembrance between the connection comes to an end and it comes to life again on the next hardship occurrence. In your professional or personal field, if you are into the business of networking or developing relationships with people, the approach of a distressed personality type is like selfish and vested networking. You have a need, you connect with someone, and then when that need is fulfilled, that person disappears from your contact list. The connectivity is point to point and momentary. That is exactly how a distressed person connects with the divine. Now let's look at the acquirer. Unlike the distressed, the acquirer personality type stays connected, but is always interested in only receiving and rarely gives. Again, in your professional and personal networking or building relationships, it's like having a relationships without giving at all. Acquirers pray to acquire more wealth, position, fame, and money. Their prayers are always preceded by a wish list. Acquirers and distressed personality types share the common trait of expecting a material benefit from their prayers. The acquirer is in a mode of receiving all the time without giving. Krishna says, the acquirer, even though always wants to receive, should at least become familiar with the source of all benefits that are being enjoyed. The acquirer must first become knowledgeable about the source of all material richness. Where does that material richness come from? Is what the acquirer should become familiar. and they come from the core gross elements and the subtle elements. As we discussed on this channel several times, the gross elements are air, water, earth, space, and fire, and the subtle elements being smell, taste, sight, touch, and sound. By asking the acquirer to become aware of these gross and subtle elements, the divine is sharing the need for the individual to be mindful. Krishna says, enjoy the sense experience of smell and taste. Relish the visual appeal of sight. Feel the variability of touch. Experience the vibrations of sound. When the acquirer gains knowledge of the gross and subtle elements, then the individual begins to enjoy the creations of this material world. The innate nature of the acquirer is to acquire, the quest to hoard more, accumulate more. The acquirer may resort to less than optimal practices to acquire, meaning the acquirer may deviate from the path of righteousness. Now, the divine will not prevent these activities. After all, the acquirer is endowed with an intellect to make choices. If the acquirer has this awareness that at the core of everything it is the divine energy at play, then that puts the person at a higher pedestal than the previous distressed personality type. And there is some hope that at some point that there is a realization that it's not all about getting, but the focus has to be on giving as well. Let's go to the third type, the inquirer. The great seer Vedanta Deshikan said, an inquirer is on a journey to attain the supreme. Midway through the journey, the inquirer pauses to take some rest, contemplates, thinks about divinity, seeks to experience, and then proceeds again. The inquirer is constantly asking why. Inquirers are in the pursuit of finding bliss. They are in the pursuit of identifying the real self and the body as two separate constructs. They are on a journey to higher levels of spiritual development. The inquirer is on a completely different playing field than the acquirer. The inquirer is a stickler to the Gita and the Upanishads and focuses on being aware and meditate on an imperishable energy or soul that is beyond this body, and be aware of the material characteristics of this body which gets attached to the soul, and understand that at the end, actions dictate the life path. Like the acquirer, the inquirer starts to appreciate the material world through an understanding of the gross and subtle elements. Realizing that the human life makes its presence felt at the time of conception, the inquirer recognizes that no one in this universe, including the great saints, are free from action or karma. The challenge for an inquirer is to experience the pure, imperishable soul while living in this body, and during this experience through inquiry. The inquirer is required to remain detached from outcomes of actions. The goal of the inquirer is to go beyond action and experience this real self for the soul. You know, my friends, it's a vicious maze which can resolve itself only through repeated inquiry. You have to go through the process to become that. Let's look at the fourth type, the knower. Now, the inquirer resuming the journey after that pause of realization is called the knower. For the knower, the journey never ends. The destination is a transcendental destination beyond the bounds of space and time. The goal is to have knowledge of divinity. It is not about achieving some exalted location or getting caught in the promises of liberation after death. The knower has single-minded dedication, devotion, and commitment. Love for a knower is not an object, but for pure merger with the divine. In the Gita, Krishna says, such overwhelming and limitless love consumes the divine. The Supreme admits the love I reciprocate is no match for the love of the knower. The Supreme takes it a step further and says, the knower is always in my heart. In fact, the knower is my own self. This revelation is very impactful. For the Supreme is implying that this very existence is due to individuals like the knower. The knower has one sole purpose: love the divine unconditionally, never break the connection, and always think and rejoice in divine's glory. The person overwhelms the divine with love and cannot even survive a moment of separation. To a knower, the divine gives out everything without limits. When the giver is the sustainer of this universe with an abundance of richness, what is the question of any limitation, or what is the need to acquire, inquire, or be distressed? The knower attains the distinguishing knowledge of the divine. The merger between Krishna and the knower is a complete and inseparable one. The Gita describes the moment of merger as a moment of revelation of the ultimate truth, where the knower can then confidently say, Krishna is in everything. Krishna considers the distressed, the acquirer, the inquirer, and the knower as passionate devotees. Surely, the inquirer and the knower are true beneficiaries of divine's grace, but the distressed and acquirer also are developing spiritual inclination and inkling through their prayers. Krishna says, all the four personality types give me an opportunity to serve and be generous, because without my devotees, who will I be serving? I hope this gives you a good preview into the four spiritual personality types, particularly if you believe in a divine or a supreme or a God. Who are you? Are you an acquirer? Are you a distressed? Are you an inquirer? Or are you a knower spirituality type? Listen and re-listen to this video again to get these concepts ingrained so that it will help with your spiritual and moral compass on a day-to-day basis. In my next video, I'll cover the four personality types of an agnostic, an individual who does not believe in a divine, but Gita still describes an agnostic from the perspectives they adopt towards the divine. Till then, stay blessed. I'll talk to you soon.